Greetings, fellow Americans. Welcome to Fireside Chats, State of Our Nation. I am your host, Susanna Tanner, candidate for Congress 2026 and President 2028. We are live on YouTube and Facebook, hopefully. It looked like it was still loading whenever I was looking at the screen last. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'll tell you what, it's been quite eventful. Couple of major things. First, apparently now, Brian Tyler Cohen, who is an independent media uh, personality with millions of followers, he is now on a list that Trump created, a list of his enemies. Well, there's a couple of things with that. So, why, first of all, would you keep a list of enemies? It's kind of like a hit list. Doesn't really make much sense, especially if you are someone who intends to go after them. And I suspect Donald Trump will try. I don't believe he'll be successful. A lot of the reason for that is because of his following. He has very supportive followers, including myself. I do watch Brian Tyler Cohen. Honestly, the fact that he is targeting individuals because they are outspoken against Trump, it is absurd. It's something that we don't generally see here in the United States. Unfortunately, it prompts legal battles, which costs taxpayer dollars, and it violates our free speech and free press. Trump is doing what he has been trying to do all along, and that is influence media. We obviously have many people who are fighting him on this tooth and nail. People like Mark Elias, who is also on Trump's list of enemies. They are continually putting out there for the people the truth and what is actually happening there in the government. They are doing their best to provide the public, their followers, with accurate information and keeping up with legalities, legislation, and issues that are occurring in our government. So Trump is once again trying to suppress free speech. Even though Stephen Colbert was canceled, he still is not silenced. He's still doing what he wants to do. And so are the other late night guys. So is Jon Stewart. So there is a lot of support for free speech in this matter. And we should all be supportive of free speech and free press. We have the right to know what is going on with our government. We have the right to know what is happening in regards to our rights. We have the right to know if we are in danger. And essentially, at this particular point, the phrase that, our democracy is under fire is very accurate. This type of action, which has been now repeated by Donald Trump, proves that he is attempting to suppress free speech and free press. I definitely believe that we, the people, will not allow this to go on much further or for much longer. And to me, it is just absurd that this is all happening. When you get into a public office like the presidency, You are expected to be for the people, all of the people, not just a select few, not just for yourself. And you're definitely not supposed to make a profit off of the presidency. To the best of my knowledge, in reviewing our United States Code and our Constitution, profiting off of the presidency is illegal. Why does someone like Donald Trump need to profit off of the presidency when not only is he technically paid a salary out of our income taxes, uh, but he also has his own businesses. Um, as far as those go, that, to me, that's just kind of a laugh. If you have a businessman whose companies have filed for bankruptcy multiple times, I'm sorry, that is very poor business management. Your business should be making a profit and not filing for bankruptcy. Um, and the fact that Trump has been called out on stuff like this, stuff like suppressing free speech, that is something that I think we're going to continue to see. I hope we continue to see more of it, increasing amounts of it. And it it really has to stop. We have to make it stop, because I honestly don't believe that Donald Trump is going to stop unless we make him stop. It doesn't mean we have to be violent. There's definitely legal constitutional steps that we can take to get him out of office. Some of those steps are being ignored or denied by the majority of Congress and potentially even the United States Supreme Court at this time. However, we the people can still take a lot of different action. I spoke last week about lawyers getting our state AGs, working together with our state AGs to list those charges and potentially get an arrest warrant for Donald Trump and any of his supporters that have contributed to violating the rights of the people of the state of Washington. And in each other state, the same would apply. There are a lot of things that we can do, including what Brian Tyler Cohen, Mark Elias, and others are doing, and that is speaking out, continuing to use their voice, and making it stronger the more that Donald Trump pushes to suppress free speech and free press. Speaking of free press, earlier, Donald Trump, for lack of a better word, threw a tantrum and walked out of an interview with NBC. I watched this particular interview, and I have to say, I know people who could actually throw a worse tantrum, but the fact that this individual is displaying such childlike behavior, lack of emotional control, lack of self-control, that really raises a lot of red flags. I know I am not the only person who sees this, sees the red flags. And I see all over the internet, on all of my social media, comments on how demented all of this seems, how people like Brian Tyler Cohen and Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and Mark Elias and all of the people that have investigated Donald Trump in some fashion, especially regarding the January 6th, 2021 incident at the Capitol. All of these people are his enemies because he must be in control. That is his desire. And his desire to protect those who are committing crimes against our people is also his desire. That's his goals. He wants to protect himself, he wants to be rich, and he wants to basically diminish what we have as a nation. Targeting people like Brian Tyler Cohen is just one of the many steps that he takes. Just one of the steps. There are other things that we could talk about all day long and rag about this. However, I think it's important that we acknowledge that we do have options. So, thinking about how we can get lawyers on board, contacting our state AGs, uh, pressing for this, signing petitions. Definitely sign petitions. When petitions gain a significant amount of signatures, they tend to go viral, and they will catch the attention of our legislators. They'll catch the attention of our governors, of our Supreme Court. They will catch the attention of the people, more people. The absurdity of it all. I honestly never thought that we would be living in a time where Donald Trump would be president a second time, or in that position anyway. As far as I'm concerned, he's not a president. He doesn't act like a president, and I firmly believe that he was illegally placed in that position through election fraud, specifically tampering with voting machines. And more evidence is coming out about that. We can support all of the people that are listed as Donald Trump's enemies. Many of us already do support them, but it's important to spread the word, essentially. Spread the word, gain their support, or gain support for them, and know that the people who were actually trying to follow the law, serve justice, those people deserve our support. They were doing their job. To me, it didn't seem like targeting Donald Trump at all. If I had been in their positions, I would have investigated him too. Investigations are for gathering evidence and proving one way or another. Once we have I don't want to say likable, a more, when we have a much better Congress, much better suited to our needs as a nation, I think we will actually see justice. Until then, it is our job as a nation to speak out and do it loudly, to make sure that our legislators know how we feel about situations, to encourage prosecutors and attorney generals and governors to basically stay away from Donald Trump. Don't give in to him. Don't do anything with him. Let's make sure that we have the support that we need to make sure he gets out of office. Now, there is an event coming up on June 14th, which happens to be a day that the No Kings have put together a watch party for celebration, for the 250th anniversary celebration of our nation. They do have on their website events listed. There are quite a few events, and if you want to watch the performances, I definitely suggest going onto their website and checking out the nearest watch party near you. You can also register a watch party. At this time, there's not anything on their site about an upcoming protest, but a watch party is still a pretty good gathering. So I do encourage people to go. And I've heard that there are some pretty big names that are going to perform. So check it out. And hopefully we can turn things around really, really soon. Um, there's something that I want to kind of throw out there, basically. I had this idea, and I'm not the only person who's had a similar idea. So I was talking about Stephen Colbert and the late night guys, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers. They are, they're pretty funny, I'd have to say. I, like a lot of people, would really love to see them do a weekly get together for all of them, including Jon Stewart. Let's include Jon Stewart in this. A weekly get together to talk about the week's events. Kind of like a male version of The View, but it's only once a week. They do have other shows that they run, except for Stephen Colbert, unfortunately. But I look forward to seeing what he's going to be doing soon. I also think that it's a good idea to point out with this particular idea, there are 3 agencies that would need to sign on: ABC, NBC, and MS Now. They would be lending their talent to this program. It would promote free speech across the board. It would allow them to promote their shows, to promote other shows, to have guests, to talk about what we want them to talk about in their amazing comedic style. And when they get together, it's hilarious. If you've ever seen any of their shows, and they have all been on there, if you're not laughing, something's wrong. You might want to check and see if you might not have something going on, because laughter is such a great medicine. Not everybody, will find that their comedy is that individual style. But for those of us who are already fans, I think that it would be a fabulous idea, and it would be completely unscripted. There would be benefits for everybody, including us, because then we wouldn't have to worry about Donald Trump interfering with free speech and free press. And I think that's pretty appealable, if you ask me. It's something to think about. I have already sent an email with this proposal to Jimmy Kimmel's team at his production company. Don't know if they've gotten it. I haven't heard anything back. It hasn't quite been a week, so I'm not so sure that I will hear anything back, but it's something that I proposed to them at least. If you are a fan of these guys at all, and Jon Stewart, of course, can't forget Jon Stewart because he is pretty funny too. I definitely encourage you to contact these guys and hit them up and tell them, hey, look, we think this would be a good idea. Free speech. Let's cross promote. Let's get our followers and make some delightful content. And I know that it would be delightful. I can already see myself laughing at some of the stuff they might come up with. Let's hope and dream, right? All right. That is all I have for today. Thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.